She screamed that I was a loser and that she should have dated my brother instead. So I called him right in front of her, and what he revealed about me left her speechless and alone. Thought it's strange how the most important turning points in life never come during calm, reflective moments. They come in the middle of chaos, in arguments, in sudden outbursts, in words you can't ever take back. For me, it happened on a Thursday night. I'd just gotten home from work, still in my button-up shirt, tie loosened, when I noticed the kitchen was a mess. Dishes stacked up, food from yesterday still sitting on the counter. I sighed, not because I expected perfection, but because I had cleaned it all 2 days earlier. When my girlfriend, let's call her Melissa, came in, I asked, "Hey, can we keep the kitchen a little cleaner? I feel like I've been doing most of the cleaning lately." That was all it took. Her eyes narrowed. "Are you seriously complaining? You think I don't do enough around here?" I tried to keep my voice calm. "I'm not saying that. I'm just asking for a little help. We're supposed to be a team." But she wasn't listening. Melissa had this habit of turning the smallest criticism into a full-scale attack. She crossed her arms, her face already red. "You're always whining. You think you're better than me just because you work a 9 to 5 and come home tired. I'm the one who actually has a social life, friends, connections. You're just boring." I felt my jaw tighten. I'd heard variations of this before, but tonight she was escalating fast. "I'm not asking you to praise me," I said evenly. "I'm asking you to respect me. That's not boring. That's basic." That's when she screamed it. "You're such a loser. I should have dated your brother instead." The words hit me like a slap across the face. For a moment, I just stood there in silence, staring at her. She must have thought she'd scored the ultimate insult, because she smirked, arms still crossed, waiting for me to blow up. But instead, something inside me clicked into place. I took a slow breath, then whispered, "Let me help you with that." Melissa's smirk faltered. "What's that supposed to mean?" I pulled my phone from my pocket, unlocked it, and started scrolling. "You want my brother? Let's ask him what he thinks." Her eyes widened. "Wait. No, don't." But it was too late. I pressed call. The phone rang only twice before my brother, James, picked up. "Yo, what's up?" His voice was casual, cheerful. He had no idea he was about to walk into a war zone. I put the call on speaker and set the phone on the counter. Melissa froze, her face draining of color. "Hey man," I said calmly. "Quick question. Melissa just told me she should have dated you instead of me. What do you think about that?" The silence that followed was almost comical. For a second, I thought the call had dropped. Then, James laughed. Not just a chuckle, but a deep, incredulous laugh that echoed through the kitchen. "You're kidding me," he finally said. "She actually said that?" Melissa lunged for the phone, but I stepped between her and the counter. "Yep," said it word for word. "You want to respond?" James didn't hesitate. His tone sharpened, cutting through the air like a blade. "Melissa, let me make something clear. You've been a problem since day one. You flirted with me behind his back at family gatherings. You asked me more than once if I thought you were too good for him. I shut it down every single time because, 1, I respect my brother, and 2, I don't like you like that. At all." Melissa gasped. That's not true." But James didn't let up. "No, it is true. You're manipulative, you play games, and now you're dragging me into your fight because you ran out of insults. Pathetic." My stomach twisted, partly from anger, partly from relief. He'd told me before that she made some weird comments, but I hadn't realized how bold she had been about it. Melissa looked at me, eyes pleading now instead of raging. "Baby, he's lying. He's just saying that because." James cut her off. Don't spin this. You're exposed, and the only person you should be embarrassed in front of is my brother, because he deserves better than the garbage you just pulled." I picked up the phone, still on speaker, and said, "Thanks, man. That's all I needed." James's voice softened. "You deserve better. Bro, don't let her drag you down." Then he hung up. Melissa stood there, pale, shaking, her mouth opening and closing like she couldn't decide whether to scream or beg. The kitchen was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. "You wanted my brother?" I asked quietly. "Turns out he wanted nothing to do with you." She swallowed hard. Her defiance was gone. All that was left was fear. Fear that the power she thought she held had just vanished in a single phone call. And she was right. Because in that moment, something inside me shifted permanently. The woman I thought I loved? She was gone, replaced by someone who weaponized cruelty, who used my own family as ammunition. I didn't say anything more. I just grabbed my jacket, slipped my shoes on, and walked out the front door. Melissa didn't follow me. The night after the fight, I slept at my brother James's place. He didn't even ask questions when I showed up with a duffel bag, just tossed me a blanket, cracked open a beer, and let me sit in silence. That was the thing about James. He always knew when to talk and when to shut up. The next morning, Melissa blew up my phone. 15 missed calls, 23 texts, and 3 voicemails. I didn't listen to them right away. I needed space, and honestly, I wanted to see how long it would take before her tone shifted from anger to desperation. By noon, she was outside James's apartment building. She rang the buzzer until James leaned out the window and shouted, "Go home, Melissa. He doesn't want to see you." I couldn't help but laugh. It was surreal watching her lose the power she'd wielded so confidently just 24 hours earlier. The first voicemail was all fury. "You're overreacting. Everyone says things they don't mean in fights. You're pathetic for involving your brother." The second was more measured. "Look, I was just angry, okay? I didn't mean it. You know I love you. Let's talk." By the third, her voice cracked. "Please call me back. I can't do this without you. I didn't mean it. You're the best thing that ever happened to me." I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I went for a walk with James. As we strolled past the coffee shop near his place, he asked, "So what's next? You going back, or are you done?" I thought about it for a long time before answering. "I think I'm done." She crossed a line you can't uncross. And you know what? I feel lighter. James nodded. "Good. She always made everything about her. You deserve someone who lifts you up, not drags you down." Over the next week, Melissa's tactics escalated. She showed up at my office once, crying in the lobby until security escorted her out. She posted vague quotes on Instagram like, "Real love forgives mistakes, and people don't know what they've lost until it's gone." Her friends even messaged me, "She's sorry. She didn't mean it. Don't throw away what you have over one fight." But what they didn't understand was that it wasn't one fight. It was years of small digs, of her undermining me, belittling my goals, testing my patience. The loser comment was just the breaking point. And the part about my brother? That was unforgivable. One night, about 2 weeks later, Melissa cornered me outside my building. She must have been waiting for me to get home from work. She looked nothing like the confident, sharp-tongued woman I'd been with. Her makeup was smudged, her hair messy, her eyes red. "Please," she whispered. "Just listen." I crossed my arms. "You've got 5 minutes." She took a shaky breath. "I didn't mean what I said. You're not a loser. I just, I get scared. I think about the future, about money, about whether you'll actually be successful, and I panic. That night, I wanted to hurt you because I felt small. But I don't want anyone else. I want you." I almost laughed. "So your solution was to insult me and drag my brother into it? That's your idea of love." She flinched. "I know it was wrong. I was cruel. But we can fix this. We can go to therapy. We can." I cut her off. "Melissa, it's not about fixing one fight. It's about who you are when things get tough. You chose to cut me down instead of lifting me up. You don't respect me, and without respect, there's nothing." Her face crumpled. "I do respect you." I shook my head. "If you did, you wouldn't have said what you said. And James wouldn't have confirmed that this wasn't the first time you crossed that line." She went pale again. "You believe him over me?" "Of course I do," I said simply. "He's never lied to me. Can you say the same?" Melissa looked like she might collapse right there on the sidewalk. She whispered, "So that's it? After everything we've been through, you're just done?" I took a deep breath. "Yes, I'm done." For a moment, I thought she might scream, might lash out the way she usually did. But instead, she just nodded, tears streaming down her face, and walked away without another word. That should have been the end of it. But Melissa wasn't someone who let go easily. Over the next month, I focused on myself. I spent more time with James, reconnected with old friends, picked up hobbies I'd abandoned while trying to keep Melissa happy. I even got a promotion at work, something she told me would never happen because I was too timid to be a leader. Life was finally feeling good again. But then, the texts started coming in from mutual friends. Screenshots. Melissa was telling people I had cheated on her, that I had called her a loser, that I had been emotionally abusive, and that she left me because I was unstable. It was almost laughable, except people were believing her. James was furious when I showed him the screenshots. "She's trying to flip the script because she can't stand being the bad guy. Don't worry, people will figure it out." But I wasn't so sure. The lies were spreading, and Melissa was getting sympathy she didn't deserve. And then came the text from an unknown number. You don't know who you're messing with. Back off, or you'll regret it. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just about a breakup anymore. Melissa wasn't letting go. She was escalating. And if I wanted peace, I was going to have to take control of the story, once and for all. Update 1 that the anonymous text rattled me more than I wanted to admit. It wasn't Melissa's style to threaten directly. She thrived on manipulation, twisting words, playing the victim. But a threat? That was new territory. I showed it to James. He read it twice, then tossed the phone back to me. Classic Melissa move. Pretend she's got an army behind her. She doesn't. But you can't let this fester. People believe what they hear first, and right now she's controlling the narrative. He was right. I'd been passive, letting her bury herself in her own lies. But the more I stayed silent, the more her version of events spread. I could already feel the shift when mutual friends invited James to hangouts, but forgot to text me. It wasn't about winning her back. God, no. It was about reclaiming my dignity. The next day, I called 3 people: my old roommate David, my college friend Ashley, and Melissa's best friend turned reluctant messenger, Claire. These were the hubs of our social circle, the people everyone went to when gossip started circulating. We met at a cafe. I laid my phone on the table, scrolled through the messages, screenshots, and voicemails Melissa had left me over the weeks. They watched in silence. David was the first to speak. Holy SHD. She really said all this. Yup, I said flatly. And now she's telling everyone I cheated on her. She wants to paint herself as the victim. But I'm done letting her write my story. Ashley looked up from the phone. You know what this is, right? She's spiraling. She thought she could control you forever, and when you finally pulled away, she panicked. So now she's rewriting history. Claire looked the most conflicted. She fiddled with her coffee sleeve before whispering, I knew she was lying, but I didn't have proof. I'm glad you showed me this. People need to see the truth. Exactly, I said. That's why I'm not hiding it anymore. That night, I posted a single, carefully worded update on my private Facebook. No anger, no name calling, just facts. For those of you who've heard stories about me recently, here's the reality. I didn't cheat. I didn't insult anyone. What I did do was end a relationship after being told I was a loser and that my brother was the better option. I've stayed quiet, but silence only helps lies spread. Below are screenshots of the actual messages exchanged. I'll let you decide for yourselves. I attached the texts, the voicemails, the Instagram DMs she sent when she thought no one would see. Every manipulative word was there in black and white. Then I logged off. By the next morning, my phone was buzzing nonstop. David texted, Dude, people are livid. She's in damage control. Ashley messaged, half the friend group already blocked her. The other half is asking why she lied for weeks straight. And Claire just sent one line. She's done. Apparently, Melissa had tried to spin my post as fake at first. But when people pointed out that the voicemails had her actual voice, crying, begging, contradicting her public story, she went silent. Then came the kicker. James posted a comment under my update. For the record, I was the one she tried to pit against my brother. I told her straight to her face that he's the better man, and I stand by that. He's not a loser. He's the only one in this story with integrity. It was like dropping a grenade. By the weekend, Melissa's entire web of lies had unraveled. Her sympathy posts disappeared. Her Instagram went private. People who had defended her started reaching out to me with awkward apologies. But Melissa herself? She didn't reach out again. Not directly, anyway. Instead, I heard through Claire that she'd been telling a new version of events. One where I was emotionally cold, where I abandoned her when she was vulnerable. It was almost funny at this point. No matter how the story shifted, the constant theme was her as the victim. But here's the thing. For the first time in years, I didn't care. The freedom was intoxicating. I started sleeping better. I stopped checking my phone every 5 minutes, waiting for the next emotional grenade. I poured my energy into work, into the gym, into reconnecting with friends who told me they'd missed me. The version of me that wasn't constantly walking on eggshells. One night, over beers, James clapped me on the back and said, You realize you're glowing, right? Like, you look like yourself again. I laughed. Guess that's what happens when you stop living under someone else's thumb. He grinned. You dodged a bullet, man. One day, You're going to look back and thank her for showing you who she really was before you put a ring on it. But Melissa wasn't quite finished with her games. About a month later, I got an email, a long, rambling essay about how she'd grown, how she realized her mistakes, how she wanted just one coffee to apologize face to face. I didn't respond. 2 days later, another message arrived, this time angrier. I can't believe you won't even give me the decency of closure. You think you're better than me? You're not. You'll regret this. That one, I flagged and archived. Because the truth was, I didn't regret a thing. Melissa had screamed that I was a loser, that she should have chosen my brother. And in trying to wound me, she revealed the ugliest parts of herself. But by the end of it all, I wasn't the one left scrambling, lying, or begging for attention. She was. And for the first time since the fight, I felt completely, utterly free. Final update. The living room was silent, except for the sound of my brother's voice coming from the phone speaker. He said, calm but firm, "First of all, don't you ever compare me to my brother again. He's been there for you, supported you, carried you through things I wouldn't have put up with. You think he's a loser? Funny, because I've always looked up to him. He's got discipline, patience, and more character than I could ever hope to have. If you were smart, you'd realize how lucky you are. But clearly, you're not." Her mouth hung open. She looked between me and the phone like someone had just pulled the ground out from under her. "And for the record," my brother added, his tone sharper now, "if you think you'd have had a chance with me, you're delusional. I wouldn't date someone who disrespects my family, especially not my own brother. You've shown who you are today, and that's someone I want nothing to do with." I just sat there, calm, watching her crumble under words she never expected. She tried to interrupt. "Wait, that's not what I meant." But my brother cut her off. "Save it. I'm not part of your little drama. But I'll tell you this. The best decision my brother can make right now is walking away from you. And he knows it." I ended the call and slipped the phone into my pocket. She looked at me, pale and desperate, like someone realizing they'd just set their whole house on fire. "You wouldn't really leave me over this, would you?" she asked, voice trembling. I stood up, calm as ever. "You called me a loser and said you'd rather be with my brother. Well, now you know what he thinks about that. And you know what I think? I think I deserve better." Her eyes filled with tears. "No, please." But I didn't stick around for her excuses. I grabbed my keys, walked out the door, and left her sitting in the wreckage of her own words. That night, she lost me, my brother's respect, and the illusion that she was somehow better than the man she'd been tearing down. And me? I didn't feel like a loser at all. I felt free.